In November 2019, I spent 2 weeks traveling around Japan, including a stop in Tokyo. And being a fan of both the Yakuza and Shenmue series, I wondered what it would be like to visit the setting for each game, where I've spent countless virtual hours in real life. So I did exactly that, and I filmed it all too. Kabukicho is the real-world inspiration for Yakuza's seedy Kamurocho district, the stomping ground of Kazuma Kiryu, the world's nicest gangster. From the moment I arrived and stepped through that iconic red gate, I was amazed by how closely the real place compares to Yakuza's semi-fictionalized version of it. The narrow, crowded streets, bathed in the light of 1,000 neon signs, felt oddly familiar, even though I'd never been there before. Kamurocho is at the heart of the Yakuza series as well as its recent spin-off, Judgment, and I've spent so much time there that it almost feels like home, which made seeing the real place even weirder. I was even able to loosely navigate the streets based on my knowledge of the game, which was a strange feeling. The real place is busier and denser, but the game captures its chaotic atmosphere perfectly. Walking the streets, I see UFO catchers, hostess clubs, vending machines, convenience stores, love hotels, and rows of parked bicycles, and all the other details a Yakuza fan would expect to see. Yakuza also features a version of Kabukicho's famous Golden Gai district, a maze of cramped alleyways filled with tiny, cozy bars. The game's equivalent, the Champion District, doesn't quite stack up to the real thing, but it captures the spirit of the place. It really did feel like stepping into the game, minus being stopped every 5 minutes by thugs and drunks looking for a fight. The worst thing I encountered was the heavy rain. The next day I took a southbound train from Tokyo to Yokosuka, the setting for the first Shenmue game. I've wanted to visit this place since I first played Shenmue on Dreamcast back in 1999, in particular Dobuita Street. This historic shopping district is an important location in Shenmue, and if you've played the game you'll have run the length of it several hundred times. When I arrived, I admit that I was a little disappointed that it didn't look exactly like it does in the game. But remember, Shenmue is set in the 1980s, and you also have to consider the technical limitations of the era. Even so, walking the length of the streets, following in Joe Hazuki's footsteps, I was overcome with nostalgia. It really did feel like Shenmue, especially when I broke away from the bustle of Dobuita Street and escaped into the quiet suburbs surrounding it. Yokosuka is an unusual place, unlike anywhere else I visited in Japan. There's a big American influence there, thanks to the presence of a nearby US Navy base. I saw some very American-looking dudes in full camel wandering around shopping and eating in restaurants. I had no trouble finding some sailors. The feeling of being in Shenmue wasn't as strong as the feeling I got back in Kabukicho, but it was still incredible visiting the inspiration for one of my all-time favorite video game settings.